Right, good evening, everybody. If you guys could do me a favor, give me a quick little sound check. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Let's see here. Let me go down to my stream elements and get that running for you guys as we are checking sound. Let's see. Where is it at? Where is it at? Giveaways right there. Let's clone that bad boy. Bam. Here we go. I see James spamming the exclamation point ticket. Overachievers. Sound is good. Thank you, FX. I appreciate it. Everybody else is like, I just need my ticket. James has got a hot date. That's what it is. He's just trying to get his ticket off real quick, and then he's gonna bolt, and he'll be quiet the whole rest of the time. Ooh, I don't know if you guys can hear the baby screaming or not in the other room. She's not happy. So, interesting enough, the baby is feeling better today. And then I think we figured out what it was. It's kind of funny. I'm looking at her, and I'm like, man, I was like, she looks like she has a little bit of a rash. And my wife's like, wait a second, I told you it was that roseola thing. So yeah, so the baby, pretty sure she has roseola. She's got like a rash all over right now, but she's feeling much better, so she's acting normal again, which is good. So that is one upgrade today. And the funny thing is, once you figure out, like, you're able to diagnose something, you're like, oh my God, can I catch it? Because she shares all my food. So, but interesting enough, like for parents, or it says for adults, it says the symptoms in adults look like a mild form of mono. I was like, well, I have been tired a lot, so doing the whole WebMD thing. I've just self-diagnosed myself with the ultra rare disease because the internet told me that that's what I had. So, all right. So, going into the markets for today. Let me bring this up a little bit here. Got to bring all kinds of things. So, first thing I'm going to point out, because again, we basically talk about currencies. Check out this oil number. Where is our oil tycoon? He's here somewhere because he had that insider information today. I'm gonna bust his balls a little bit. James, where are you at, man? What happened, James? James is like, oh, it's gonna, I saw this number and I was like, wait a second. James is like, it's me. Now, if this was anybody, I wouldn't pick on you, but I got to pick on James a little bit. James is like, I got the insider information. My boys at the rig called me and told me this, and then today, it didn't work out. But it was just kind of funny because he like called himself out on it. And I was like, get some insider information over there, James. But again, being in Texas, that's why it's funny. If you guys know James. So, all right. So starting off the day, you guys can see obviously the Dow was up big today. We were up what I think 370 something, 371, 372, something like that. Yeah. Okay. Was it the Trump thing? Was it the non-farm employment change number? Was it the ISM manufacturing that was a surprise to the top side? What was it? Nobody knows. But again, markets definitely had a pretty nice rally up today. I think crude oil ended up being flat completely, didn't it? Didn't it like go up and then retrace or something like that? Like I don't think it was actually like a all on me up, but not enough last week. Yeah. Like, but didn't it retrace back? Like I think it ended pretty much where it opened, didn't it? I think I don't have it up, but somebody was saying that it basically was an up and down type situation today. Yeah, pop and flop. Yeah, yeah. Somebody was complaining about it. I was like, I didn't look at it. But everything else was green across the board, so it was really an easy day to make money. I like days like today. I like it not because it's easy to make money; it's because everybody's an expert on days when the market goes up. It's hard not to make money when the Dow does what it does today. You're like, yeah, it went up. I mean, again, after last night with the whole kind of, the meeting of the minds trade war thing, I'm not really surprised by the numbers. And then again, looking at the ISM manufacturing numbers, again, those things are pretty good. So, all right. So looking at currencies, again, currency is a little bit different. Okay. Looking at pound, the only two big things that were moving again today was pound dollar and pound yen. Okay, you guys can see in those two pairs. There's a couple of things that moved. Dollar yen obviously moved. Dollar Swiss again, retracing kind of what we saw, from the last couple of days where we were seeing the, obviously the Swiss kind of getting power. Dollar CAD, absolutely nothing. -2, it just hasn't moved. Even, I mean, 0.02 in 24 hours is just crazy. And then 13 and the LCM. If you guys can, I apologize if you can hear me eating. My daughter brought me a mandarin orange, so I was trying to eat the piece, so she stays quiet and she smiles, and then my wife carries her back out of the room. Um, so yeah, so that's what we're looking for right now. So not a whole lot of news tonight. Again, the Swiss National Bank chairman is speaking tonight. Not really a big mover. Again, the Swiss is typically, again, flight to safety type pair. But as far as the overall movement, everything was pretty much flat minus the 2 yen pairs, or I'm sorry, minus the 2 pound pairs, and then the dollar yen. Everything else pretty much missed for the day. And again, you can tell that it was yen based, right? So obviously the pound yen moved, but the pound moved by itself. But yet Aussie yen and dollar yen and Aussie yen were all movers. Okay. Um, so going into tomorrow, what do we have? Big morning. Okay. And actually, it's morning and afternoon. Okay. I would say, obviously, with CAD, again, we have dollar CAD, we have CAD yen that we can play on that one. We can have, for the dollar, we can have euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar yen, um, Aussie dollar. I mean, there's a lot of different things we can play for the dollar news tomorrow. So, a lot of different things to look at. So, the fact that today didn't move a lot didn't really necessarily surprise me, just because, again, everybody's waiting for the big non-farm numbers tomorrow. Okay. Um, and I think it will be pretty interesting to see how it kind of rolls out. Only because, again, again, we have this trade war kind of meeting coming up, but yet, supposedly the economy's going into a recession. Yet today you saw numbers that were a surprise to the upside, and a pretty decent, surprise to the upside, as well as manufacturing. And again, that's always good. Anytime you hear, and again, it's ISM, but it's non-manufacturing PMI, and it's like, hey, that's good. Um, so we'll see. Okay, so let's dive into some charts here. All right, go over. So again, yen-based pair, we talked about this last night. This one actually did have some movement. Again, it ground up in this zone, and we were kind of nervous about what it was going to do next. Right here is where we were. 19 is right here. Okay, so you can see we were spiking into it. Let me make sure it's 21, and then we go back to 21 is right here. Okay, so you can see this was that spike they were talking about that really kind of came out of nowhere. We are like, what just happened? Why is everything moving? So it did spike up into the zone and kind of came back again and kind of flatlined. So this is one of those positions where obviously it's an uptrend. We want to be cautious about any position that we get into. All right. Now, taking a reversal on this one right away, again, we did have a confirmation. We had a red, green, red to the downside, may have led you to actually enter this trade position, especially because we had so much of a burst and you were looking for somewhat of a retracement. As I mentioned before, whenever you get into a trade like this and then it just starts to flatline like this, again, be very, very cautious. Okay. Typically, if you get one of these confirmations and it stops and it's not stopping in a level, it's basically just kind of it's a fake out. Okay, it's typically what happens is you've lost all momentum when it does this. Okay, again, it was grinding, it was returning very nicely, right? Red, green, and then boom, it stopped, and there's nothing there. Okay, so we really haven't moved much, as I said before. We've only moved up a little bit. What are we talking about? About 30 pips from what the low was here. Basically, once it stopped, we've only moved about 11 pips higher. So it hasn't done too much. It's still sitting up in that zone. It did spike very, very briefly off the top side of it. And again, that may have been a support and resistance trap. Again, very easy to see this one little peak over here. And again, we mentioned this before that there was actually a zone sitting right above where we were. Okay, if you guys remember me saying last night, I didn't know if this one was going to hold because it had eaten all the way through, all the way to the very, very top. Okay, so which makes it a lower kind of probability zone. And I thought we moved this one, but maybe it was on the other one. Here is the zone on the upper side, right? That's the one sitting right on top of the prior, and it just basically touched that level there. And you can see that one still held. Okay, so. And if you had taken this entry, yeah, it took a little bit of heat, but it's basically an entry right now. So you really don't have a whole lot in there that there just hasn't been a lot of movement. We haven't seen a big reaction off of it. And again, this is the importance, and maybe that's why I left it down there. Okay, that's the importance of understanding that yes, we had a level of basing here. Okay, we were respecting that level of basing, but whenever we see price drive really, really far into a zone, you can pretty much write that zone off. Okay, there's just not enough left in there to typically be able to grab it. Okay, but again, there was the one little piece right above. You can see that it respected the upper zone. Again, level on top of level, and again, it's based. How can they say like the US CAD didn't move? I got in on a big move this morning. How can they say it didn't move? It's pretty simple. Right here. Okay. So here's 21. You go back and here's 21. So yeah, it went down and it went up and it came right back down again. I mean, this is exactly where it was. Right here is 21. You can see the line. Yeah, I mean, Forex Factory is correct, right? I mean, right here, you can see, look, 21, you see it at the bottom right here? 21, go back, 21 is right here, okay? Here, I'll move this black line. There's where current price is, here, and that's where current price is there. So no, did it really move much in 24 hours? It had a little bit of a drop and a little bit of spike, but it's the same exact, it hasn't really moved. So yes, it came down, went across, it gapped up, and then it fell back right down to exactly where we were before. So it wasn't you would say that it typically is not a trending market. It's an intraday market, sure. But again, did it really trend in one direction? No. And again, could this just be considered chatter? Sure. Yeah. Again, big spike down, big spike up, and then retrace right back to where it was. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. All right. So going across to Aussie, New Zealand. Oh, by the way, on Aussie Yen, we're still waiting for some type of reversal. Okay, again, we haven't seen anything. It's just flat. Again, this is a 30-minute too, just across upper region. Here's our high. There's a lower high. Okay, it has failed to kind of push anywhere back. I'd like to see it push up a little bit more, but it hasn't really kind of made it all the way up. Okay, but we're failing. We're starting to kind of eat pieces through the bottom. So we'll see when we get some momentum in there. I think the U.S. market should give us a little bit of a balance. You should be able to see something along these lines. Basically here is 6:30 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning until 10:30, and that's where all the movement came in. Okay, I think it'll be a little flatter tomorrow. Waiting for that non-farm news though. You made money in the flat market. You did. Remember, what's flat in one period of time will not necessarily be flat in another one. So yes, on a daily, is it flat? Sure. It opened and closed at basically the same exact spot. But was there intraday movement? Absolutely. Okay. So again, looking to go short on this guy. Looking across at this one. Okay, so this one I have to joke, right? Because what does this look like? Boop, 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 boop. And again, here we are right now at 21. And the other 21 was right here. Okay, so again, just slightly lower. But what did it do? It popped, it went down, came back up again. And again, this is one of those things that drives moving average traders crazy because it keeps going from one side to the other one. I mean, you could probably throw, let me see, you could probably throw a Bollinger Band on there, and it literally goes top to bottom. Yeah. See how it goes top, bottom, top, really consolidated. Top pierce, bottom pierce, top, bounce, top, bottom. So this is one of these sideways markets that people are like, look at this, it worked amazingly well. It's like, well, yeah, here's the moving average in the middle, right? You're going above and below and above and below, and again, that's what's it's meant to eat people up. Okay, this is why statistics is such a valuable lesson, right? Now the question is, how do I get it off that thing? Here we go. That worked. All right. So are we trending? First question. And the answer is green is obviously outside the red. So yes, a little bit. It does look like it's an uptrend setup. Okay. If we're looking to see what it ran into, it's kind of stuck up in this area of wicks, right? So that we really can't get a good read on price action up here. So it's really hard to tell really kind of what's above where we are right now. And again, be cautious with that, right? Looking at it on the 4 hour, it's obviously sideways. There's no movement or anything like that. So it's kind of like what would you be looking at, right? Yes, uptrend setup, but what area are you going to pull off of, right? Nothing really is great over here, so I would just have to say, go to the next pair. There's just nothing in this one, right? And again, on the lower time frame, you can see it is channeling back and forth. The channel is, let's see, talking about 35 pip channel top to bottom, and it's starting to get smaller as the highs are coming up and the lows are getting higher. So, it is what it is. Yeah, like I said, I think there's better opportunities out there. Going across, looking at the the Aussie dollar. Now, again, this one we talked last night about how we're starting to see the direction kind of change, right? And we're starting to get here. We had this one little pop. Okay, so remove this pop from last night where kind of everything went crazy, right? We were like, hey, what just happened? Oh, it's not updating. And then what have we done since that time? Since the pop, it's kind of it started to switch. Okay, so minus the pop, you can see that we were basically kind of flat here. Let me change this around to black. Okay, and now what is it starting to do? So now we're actually starting to see some lower highs being put in. Okay, so it's giving us a signal like it wants to kind of turn and flip. We are super, super close. If you guys can see, here's that trigger where we wanted to come back and look at this one to be able to get short on there. We're super, super close. It's just not there yet, right? We're there, right? It got really, really close, right? It got within 29 to 34. It got within 5 pips, right, of starting to hit this wick behind the wall over here. And again, we measured it out on the 2-hour. So, and again, we did get a little bit of a higher high, but then we had a higher low and making the lower low. Okay. Bam. All right. So again, same situation as the last one. They're basically all three of these are set up the same way. It's in an upper channel. I'm waiting for pullbacks. A little bit more bearish in all three of these. Okay. Ooh, I just like reached over for the power plug, and I was like, why is it not working? Then I realized the baby unplugged it. Thank you, baby. All right. So going over to the pound Aussie. Now, the pound Aussie we would expect to be the exact opposite, but it's not. This one is also high, okay? And again, this is all from the pound. So we saw the big spike up, right, when we saw this kind of move early in the morning, okay? Price went all the way up. You guys can see, right? What did we talk about? We talked about the level of basing up top here, right? These two purple lines, and we just basically tickled the edge of it, tickle, 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 and it's not really forming one direction or the other one. In this case, again, this is the exact opposite. The other ones were high with the Aussie as the quote pair, not the base pair. Now it's the base pair, okay, and it's in the same exact situation. So at this point, this is more of a pound story, and again, I'm looking to pretty much take back this area in here. Okay, it's too big of a pop. There's only one little kind of pullback in here, but I really haven't gotten any great confirmation. You know, this is not really what you want to see. Okay, and if you use it just based off of colors, you can see it, right? If you take this one, but not really the best little area, right? Again, it did not really give us any type of explosive movement. It spent 3 candles inside of this one little green. Okay, so for me, kind of got sucked out on that one, right? But that's what I'm looking to do on this one, looking for some type of confirmation to the downside. Don't know if we're going to get this one by the weekend. I don't think we're going to retrace all the way back down. I think it's a little bit too much of a runner. Now, again, if we do get some more Brexit news tomorrow, then yes, this will have the ability to move a bit. I actually heard news today that Boris's brother actually, I guess, quit Parliament because he doesn't agree with his brother anymore. I was like, wow, that's interesting. It's like, wow, we'll see how, they made a comment about how Thanksgiving dinner was going to be real interesting this year for them. I was like, yeah, we'll see. So definitely more bearish on this as well, which would also be bearish on this pair is Aussie strength. The other three, we're looking at Aussie weakness. Okay, so again, that's a little bit of a conflicting signal between the 3 base pairs versus the quote pair. Okay, looking at Euro pound, this was the one that I grabbed today. And again, you guys know I'm not into like 12 different pairs. If I can get 30, great. This one I was able to grab 50 on there. And again, this was a Harry Potter trade. Okay, here was that 4-hour zone that we talked about. Okay, we saw that it popped through at one time, didn't retest here. This is number 4. Okay, I didn't do the numbers before. I'll do the numbers real quick for you. There's one. Oops. Just so you guys can see it. There's 2. Here is 3. And then what do we see? There's the break of number 4. There's the retest up. 15 pip risk. There's the push down. Back to the start of this move right here. Okay, there was the first target. And we talked about how this wasn't really the best area, right? because it was a little bit slow, right? Didn't really pop, but this was the next time that we saw a pop, and this gold would be our trigger, right? And that's exactly where the bottom of the box was. Okay, for 50. And again, since that time, it's kind of continued to grind, but it's kind of bounced back and forth. But again, anytime you can grab something like that, get out. Okay. Again, you guys can see it down here as well. Actually, this was your first test here. Whoops. There's one. There's two. There's three. And that was the break on number 4. Okay. Push down, went lower. And again, you could have got in here or you could have got in here. Push down right to the start of that move. Okay, so again, this is the easy one to grab. This was definitely a set and forget style trade. There's nothing spectacular about this one. Is what it is. Okay. Again, whenever we see those things, whenever you see this many breaks of a level that was prior there, and again, nice bounce off, nice bounce off, nice bounce off. Number 4 collapsed, retest up, grabbed, launched down to the start of the next move, which would have been down to this level. And again, we explained that last night. So where we are now, we are definitely at the bottom of this run. It is kind of basing right now inside of another little zone, right? If we go back, you guys can see got all kinds of wicks and basing, prices pulled back into here. There's a single wick against the wall. So there's a lot of junk it's got to go through right now. So I don't know if I'd step into it right now to go long at all. Or I'm sorry, to continue going short yet. But obviously we are definitely, momentum is to the downside. You guys can see, I wish these didn't show up here, but you guys can see it's definitely, it's pushing to the downside. Excuse me. I swear I was going to drink coffee and it was going to work, but it's not working yet. But I had coffee I stopped drinking coffee at 2, so maybe I need to drink a little bit later than that. But again, simple setup, guys. Harry Potter trade, downside, break over previous level. There we go. Where we are right now, we are inside of a buying zone on the larger time frame, but we are definitely in a downtrend, waiting for some type of reversal signal to be able to tank and turn and flip this to the top side. Okay, going into Euro Yen. Okay, Euro Yen drove through the level. Now this one is an interesting situation. Okay, it did break through. This one just collapsed. It didn't even get close. Right. It didn't take 4 times. It blew through the top and then kind of retraced back again and is now stopped. Okay, you guys can see this was that same momentum things that we saw earlier with a couple of different Euro pairs. Again, we blew through this zone here, went through, retested that zone, and then continued higher. Actually had a bit of a gap, right? Okay, this morning in this pair, and then we pulled back and kind of rested, sitting right on the zone again. So interesting place where we are right now. We are still green. Obviously, this is basically an anchor break to the top side, right? We had these green. Again, we were anchor break yesterday as well. Take these 2 green candles, pretend this one doesn't exist. We are still outside of this red. Go across, we hit. So we are anchor break above the 116.70 area. Wait, hold on. 116.60 area, which would have been right in here. Okay, from that time, we've had the trigger to go higher, and it's literally gone up. It's pulled back slightly from the first level. It hit the second level and just continued to push through. So this thing's on a mission, but we don't have a pullback that's valid yet. There may be a little bit of a pullback here, but I actually don't really like how this formed. I don't like that it came up and then really kind of just slammed down. I mean, we dropped what? 40 pips. That's a 40 pip drop in that pullback. It's pretty quick too. So it hit something and got smacked down. So not sure I necessarily like this as far as kind of a relaunch off this zone, although we did get pretty close. Okay, you guys can see that we skirted along the bottom. And like I said, it's going along with this anchor break, meaning we have a trend reversal. So kind of interesting, but I think I'm going to probably stay with the euro dollar pair instead of this one. Okay. Let it load. Okay, so euro dollar. So this one, we were talking about this last night. Now this is one I got stopped out on. Okay, I did like how I kind of reversed over. I got a red, I got a green, I got a red right here, and I ended the trade and ended up kind of basically not even getting 1-to-1, and then it kind of flipped over and then just kind of went crazy and then came back, and it's really technically at the same exact spot now. So even if had you taken this with Nadex, you would have gotten basically stopped out with a loss as well, or I guess you would have expired worthless. It just didn't do anything, right? This basically looks just like the CAD trade, James, except we didn't go down first. We went down, I guess, a little bit. Up and basically finished the exact same spot. So no movement really whatsoever. As far as the daily overview looks, didn't take this one. The risk was small, was 14. So, made 50 on the other one, lost 14 on this one. What are you going to do? It happens, okay? One and one. Yeah. it's kind of the same setup right now. Non-farm will have the ability to move this one tomorrow. I will probably wait to see what the volatility is doing to the price tomorrow morning, and with use something like a 2 hour. Um, I'm not going to put a position on overnight. I just think there'll be a little bit too much baked in, and you may get a little bit too much movement that kind of hurts your chances. So I think it's still probably pretty valid for some type of a morning setup. Okay, to the downside. Um, yeah, like I said, you guys can see the dotted line. It popped all the way back up to the start of the zone that we marked off last night. Went right above it, gapped up, and went below. So yeah, yeah, it was just a little fake out in here that they get you, but it's going to happen. So again, tomorrow morning, looking for 2 hours, going to see what this does, and look for a 2 hour somewhere down in this area. Probably, probably the 109.80-ish area is what I'll be looking at. Oh, actually, no, I don't think it'll move that much overnight. Probably down in the 110 range is what I'm assuming. I'm assuming it'll rally a little bit tonight. Probably. Yeah, well, I think we'll get there. So, see, I told you you're gonna need a 5 hour energy drink. You know, it's funny. I've taken those before in the past, and I don't think they did much. Like, I still felt tired, but I felt like not jittery, but like I don't know. I felt weird, but I don't feel like they did anything. I have a buddy that does he'll do like like Red Bull and vodka. He'll do the 5 hour. He'll do like a Red Bull vodka and then dump the 5 hour energy into it. I was like, man, one of these days your heart's gonna explode. He's like, man, it's awesome. It's good stuff. I'm like, you're just no. They have like 5 hour energy tea now also, which I thought was interesting. They all taste bad, but whatever. So yeah, so looking to take this one to the downside tomorrow morning. I'm going to play it with something small. Let's go over to Euro Aussie. All right, so Euro Aussie, kind of a similar situation. We talked about this before, about this one kind of pulling back and retesting. You guys can see how close it was. Here we missed, here we missed, here we missed, here we missed, here we missed. So it's been one of those ones that's just been a mistrade again and again and again and again. Had you used any of these prior failures, if you would have used this area, I'll draw it for you guys real quick. If we use this area, right, use the peak down, you guys can see that you basically would have hit this trade, this area 4 times, right? So it's one of those things. You got to be, sometimes you got to make adjustments. Sometimes you got to be kind of stick to your guns. In this case, had you used your lower levels, you would have hit here, 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 and here. So, and again, this one wouldn't have given you much. You maybe have gotten 2 to 1 out of it. This one, same thing before it came up and retested. This one was the nice bang, and this one was the nice bang. So there was some opportunity. So where we are now in this one, again, we are rather low. We are in a downtrend setup. And again, like I said before, I'm looking for this green candle. I really wanted to come up to the purple line. I like the purple line better than the blue, although this blue seems like it's been rock solid. Multiple opportunities, but again, if we're using just our 6 times multiplier, you should be using your daily and your 4 hour. You missed entry twice. You missed entry twice on this one to the downside, and it's frustrating. Like I said, I've been there where it's like, oh man, this is what I wanted to do, but it just, what are you going to do, right? I mean, look how close we are. Here, 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 and here. These two are the closest. This one here and this one here, followed closely by this one and this one. So there's 4 different ways to get in. We missed all of them, being just a little stubborn waiting for the purple line. Okay. Would I do it next time? I may. I mean, again, this is one of those things. It's worked out 4 times already. I think we're pushing it at this point, but I would still probably hold firm for that purple zone. Okay. Looking at pound yen. So pound yen was a mover today. Come on, you can load. Okay, pound yen. So this was one of the ones we talked about. Again, breaking out of this 130.70 area, and we ended up getting it, right? What did it do? It came across, shot all the way up, and where did it stop? Where did we put the profit target? Right at the start of the yellow, or I'm sorry, of the red area here, where we saw the explosion through. It was a wick over wick. We picked the middle of the split of the bodies, and where did it stop? You guys can see it stopped literally right on that line. Okay. Now, again, remember, we're talking about this leaving this area, coming back in, getting, I mean, we're talking about even if a potential retest on this, but once we went out the bottom side, again, right here was your retest. It was very quick. It came up, it pulled back right here. There's a little candle. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's right there. Okay. It's sitting right here. Sure tool. So we'll be able to see it better. Yeah, it's better. Right there. Okay, so there was your pop, there was your redraw, and then boom, gone. So again, that was 128 pips. I did not take this one. I didn't get into this one. I wasn't there for the retest. It was a little bit early for me. I would like to say I was not up at 5 o'clock this morning. But again, it was already on its way, so I would have had to chase it. But again, this is what we talked about last night, okay? Right, kind of pulling out of the zone again, doing that retest. And again, whenever you have something that goes back and forth, always look for the retest to the top side. So that one was 29 risk for 129 gain, 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio on that one. Where we are now, we're starting to get a little high. Okay, I like that this kind of went up. I like the fact that it hit the target. Again, remember this 4-hour target was based off of the wick over wick on the 4-hour. So we are hitting an area where we have sellers. Okay. Now, did we have an explosive movement off of it? No, we did not. Okay, but it was a big day. I think, let's see, what is it saying? It's saying we had a 170 pip move today. Okay, now the ATR on this one, okay, obviously has been rising, but even with this peak over here, it's only at 135. Okay, so did it do 2 times? No, not so much, right? But it was down here at 115 just prior to on Monday. So large extended range move, not necessarily playing the retrace immediately, but I am looking for this to kind of pull back a little bit. Again, look at the daily. You guys can see the zone that we're sitting in on the daily right here, right? This little pullback. I mean, I would say it's not necessarily little, but that's the area we're sitting in right now. Okay, that's a daily pullback, and it coincides with a 4-hour. So pretty nice zone to be able to kind of take a reversal off of. But again, it's going to be a little bit higher risk. Okay, that box itself is quite large. Okay. Even dialing it down on a 4-hour, we may be able to find something for it, but I haven't seen any movement. I haven't seen a true confirmation. Nothing that could be considered explosive or any type of retest to be able to go short this one, but definitely interested in somewhat of that retest. Okay, taking this to the downside. So let's see here. Go to pound dollar. All right. So pound dollar had a similar move. It popped. It didn't quite make it up. All right. Oh, go a little bit more. Okay, you guys can see here, if we take a horizontal line and we place the horizontal line, I'm going to change it off of there, right? We're going to change that to black and we'll turn it solid. All the way across. Look how close we were. Okay. And again, that is on based off of the 4-hour and the daily kind of where the kind of momentum and where the pressure came in at. So super, super close. There's the line. You guys can see it. Come on, get bigger. There you go. How about that? So today is the day. There's like the third or fourth line that we've just missed by very, very small increments. Same scenario. I like this one to the short side. I think there'll be some pound weakness in here. Again, that was a pretty big pop. You can see it was a pretty healthy pop, right? Impulse, correction, impulse back up again. On the 4, obviously it's a spike and then it's flat line. So again, we've had 20 hours now at this point of really no movement. It was all based off of this one. So pretty soon the next candle, you're going to see this one kind of drop through the floor. This 81 will go. I mean, it'll just drop. I think I can actually change this to 4-hour. Yeah, so you can see the 4-hour, still nothing, right? Hasn't moved. 12-hour, little bit, but not much, right? Big difference between these two. All right. All right. So with that being said, looking for a reversal of some sort, looking to take over this area right here. Oops. That area right there. Okay. Now, things I'm looking for this one is if we do get a spike into this area down here off of non-farm, I would be looking for a retest up. I do hate non-farm because it is on Fridays, unfortunately, but that's just what we got to deal with. If we do stay base like this and we don't have anything, no ability to go higher, I will look what early morning movement looks like. Because there's not a whole lot 4-hour wise above where we are, we're kind of sitting at the top. I would probably be willing to take a position if I could find a good price for one, something out of the money to the downside, just taking a shot that it's going to drive it right back down again based off the technicals. Again, we've seen 3 days of straight up in the air, this kind of launching forward, and we are sitting in area of sellers. Okay, so typically when price is driven into an area like that, ahead of news, you're looking to kind of take advantage of it, right? So this would be kind of a downward momentum move. Okay, so again, but I do it with an out of the money Nadex pair. Go with the 2 hours so the strike prices are close. Going across to New Zealand. Let's see what we got over here. Ernest, you have been so quiet today. All right, same situation. Upper sell zone, right? Big pop in the pound, looking for price to go up. Haven't got any confirmation to the downside. Okay, this one has literally just gone back and forth inside of the buy and sell zone as it did back here. You can see we went up, we hit, we went down, we hit, we went up, we hit, and now we're on the back downside again. Same situation, right? 2 big spikes, 8 hours of straight up momentum, sideways basing, top of the channel in the daily. Again, the last time we were up in this area around 194 is where we saw a lot of different sellers. Okay, this is obviously not an Nadex pair. I would be cautious with this one anytime. Again, with Brexit happening right now, one of these spikes is not very far behind, right? You can see it gets, big spike here, double spike here. And again, this is some back and forth movement. This one, be careful because I feel like we're going to run out of room quick. I feel like the traders are going to lock it down for the week with everything that's happened. And then all it takes is one tweet or some news release or this other person decides that they're leaving Parliament. And this could get some movement. You can get kind of smacked on this one pretty quickly. So, yeah, just be a little cautious with it. Go to the New Zealand dollar itself, right? Come on, you can load. Okay, so similar situation. Okay, we saw that with this, we're technically at a level right now. We're at a single wick against the wall. It got a little sloppy though with the gap candle, so I wasn't willing to step into this one a little bit early. Again, you guys can see we drove all the way back up again. We gapped again. You can see the original gap was over here. Kind of a hard situation here, right? Actually, these two we can remove. Okay, I can extend this across. Again, that same zone is holding. You guys can see the wicks over here. And that's kind of where we're at right now. Problem with this one, again, has always been, is it going to have enough move to run before we run into something? What I'm running right now is, will it have enough time to move before the market closes for the weekend? With only 1 day left. Yeah, non-farm payroll is going to do there, but there's other pairs that are going to have better liquidity and better movement for a cheaper price. So this isn't going to be my number one option, as well as you can't trade this one on Nadex. So this would be purely a spot currency play, and I just don't see it. I don't see any huge benefit to it right now. Switching across to dollar Swiss, and again, you guys can see dollar Swiss is up 44 from where we were, and again, we saw the price kind of went. Let's see, come on, and this thing's getting slow today. All right, so you can see this one. Okay, here's where we are right now. And right here is where we were last night. Okay, so what did price do? It did come back up to that level. Okay, the risk on this one was 6 pips. The overall profit target on this one was a bit ambitious, putting it all the way down the bottom side. But if you follow the rules, okay, here is 21 pips as to what the peak was. Okay, we were technically already over 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Should this trade have cost you any money? Or should you, worst case scenario, would this been a break-even trade? Okay. Now, when it rallied back up again, if you didn't stop yourself out, you were obviously break even. When it shot back down again, you should have probably taken yourself out if you got there again. But again, there's really no reason why this trade would have cost you, anything at all. Worst case scenario, you got stopped out at break even. Okay. But again, you were already up over 3-to-1 in this trade. to the downside. We did move 20. I wanted 40 out of it. I wanted to kind of retest the lows. It didn't do that. I ended up going higher. Okay, now we are now in the 4-hour zone now. Okay, now the question is, do we take something here? Okay, if you look, we are just on the kind of the bottom side again. I'm using this old zone right now. Even though it's just slightly higher than where we are right now, you can see the descending wicks here with this green. You may say, well, why didn't I know you know, Brian, you're supposed to take this top. Yes, I know we're supposed to go this way. I know this is what it's supposed to look like right there, right? Let me change it to a different color. That's what it should look like, right? And again, that's what we're running into. That's where it's kind of, it's, you guys can see that it's entered the pink area to the downside, but I'm still holding that last blue from, that's where a prior zone was already formed. So just keeping it kind of cognizant right there. I think I'm a little bit more bearish now. Where we've pulled back to, we've definitely seen some sellers come in, any type of indecision. If we get a bad number tomorrow, again, it has the ability to move this pair to the downside. Now, would I trade this pair over the pound dollar or the euro dollar? It's a good question. I don't think that I would. They typically have bigger moves, and you know, they tend to be a bit more violent, a bit more predictable. So I probably wouldn't play this one. This would probably be like number 3 or number 4 on the depth chart of, you know, where I would trade news from. Okay. Let's see, dollar CAD. And don't forget, guys, exclamation point ticket. I only have 2 entries so far for my exclamation point, my exclamation ticket. Will's over here like, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. All right, dollar CAD. So we already kind of drew this one about where we were last night this time and where we are right now. And again, price did go lower, okay, and then it popped up and then kind of just stopped. So again, this one has been kind of channeling, as we mentioned before. Okay, I'm going to remove some of these lines here. We'll get rid of these 2 verticals. We'll get rid of this kind of line right here. We're going to get rid of this guy. Yes, Will, you have excellent odds right now. Okay, there's our target. So, all right. So at this point, you guys have basically seen this. Okay, you guys can see that we kind of have a top side of a channel and we kind of have the bottom side of the channel. So at this point, I'd like to see it whether try to break out or give us a good confirmation to the top side. We do have a big pop right there, a big green pop, but then it started to pull back again. And again, we're starting to make, we're attempting to go a little bit higher, but it's got a little bit of run. It's got some room to run before we can actually close above. There is the potential for a retrace here. And again, this would be retracing back. It would be dollar strength, CAD weakness. And again, does non-farm have the ability to move that? Absolutely, without a doubt. Okay, you're talking about from where current price is now back up to this zone is about 100, about 90 pips. Okay, non-farm can absolutely, without a doubt, move that distance. So because we are on the lower side of the channel, it's going to take a lot of dollar weakness for this thing to kind of head straight down. Okay, if the news is bad, again, put it this way, I don't think at this point there's. I think the questions are we going to lower rates to help avert this recession or weaken the recession? I don't think there's any debate out there whether or not we are going to raise rates at this point. Okay, so again, that's kind of factored into the market that things could be bad and that there's not this huge dollar strength move. So this is kind of a weird one for tomorrow. But again, I think we have the potential, if we get a surprise in the right direction, to launch this thing up to the top side. Now, could it go to the downside? Sure, it could. Okay, it absolutely could. And again, we bounced off this zone once. Hours on the 4-hour that I'd be looking for are probably down here in the 131.50 range. That's a big move. Again, that's about 70 pips to the downside off of a spike if it does nothing overnight. And again, it's Friday. Say, can we make up enough time? It is kind of where we stand with it. So those are kind of the 2 potential kind of tops and bottoms that I'm looking for on this one. Yeah, it's a double up. Yeah, it's a double up. So like I said, would this be number 1? No, it'd probably be euro dollar first. Actually, it'd probably be pound dollar first, followed by euro dollar, and then most likely dollar yen, and then this one, and then dollar Swiss. So this is kind of farther down on the list. Wouldn't say this is the best one, but if this is the one that you like, then yeah, you could take it to the top and bottom. And remember, for retracing a news after the fact, you may need, the dollar news may come in exactly as expected. The CAD news may be what moves this, and then play the retracement. So there are things that you can do after the fact with this pair. Okay, looking at dollar yen. Come on, you can load. All right, so in this pair, I'm actually surprised it didn't move more than it actually did. I'm just going to say that one. Based off of what we saw in the overall market, we were up like I said, 230, 240, or I'm sorry, 340, something like that, 350, somewhere around there. It was a pretty legitimate day today. S&P, Dow, Nasdaq, Russell, everything was up, over 1.5%, or at least close to 1.5%. I'm shocked this one actually didn't move more. And you guys can see for basically the last 12 hours since this morning, it had the nice pop, right, at 10, and then we pulled back at 11, and then from 11 o'clock till now, it's moved a total of about 6 pips. Okay, so I'm surprised we didn't get more movement in this there. So something is definitely going on. This one will typically move more when we have the market up that much. This was all kind of early data. And again, part of that may have been that this started last night. Remember in chart school when all of a sudden we're like, wait a second, what the heck's going on? Why is this moving right here, right? Well, what happened was it was the news of, trade, trade conference, right? They're going to do a conference, right? They're going to meet, they're going to sit down, right? And you guys can see there was this little pop here. There was the pullback. Okay, so there was something that was tradable out of it on the pullback. Obviously, on the 4-hour, what was it? That occurred right here. Actually, right here, right? This is obviously an uptrend. When it pulled back red is what this red was here. It was an uptrend with a setup into a level that had a nice pop, right? It was an up, sideways, and then explosive move out, came back and touched it, and then took off. So I didn't get the trading opportunity, but there was one out there had you guys been up late enough. That came in, actually, I guess it was early enough. That one triggered at 3 a.m. So you West Coasters, that would have been, midnight for you guys. So it's possible that some of you were able to get into this one. I was obviously sleeping at this point. Josh, what's up? Is it actually Josh or is it daughter of Josh? If it's daughter of Josh, that's okay. I'm just curious because he got all excited. I just want to make sure you get credit for winning. I think he promised a couple extra tanks of gas. So if you ask to use the car, you got some tanks of gas. If he says, no, I never said that, the whole room will back you up. All right, so price is up, kind of based, right? We're kind of we're not at the peak, we're not at the low, we're stuck inside of this gap range. Again, nice little bop here. On the daily, we're still uptrend right now. We're not in an uptrend setup situation. On the 4-hour, we're in sideways movement, right? You guys can see, if we remove the green, look at the red. The red is engulfed by the green. Shows us that we are sideways with an upward bias. Looking on the lowest time frame, you can see that we have the peaks, but we do have descending wicks. Descending wicks are a no-no, right? We typically don't like those. It means that there are sellers there. So be cautious about that one. I would much rather like this one if we were at the top or the bottom in a drive, not kind of pulling back. Especially with this kind of just pullback with the gap was just funky. It's like, yeah, you got to hate when we have things like that in there. But again, we pulled back and then just basically gone sideways. So obviously the trade would have been here, taking this small risk and going higher. Right now, I wouldn't say that there's anything as great. Again, typically when you get this, you could mark off the gap area here as a low, but I prefer to use the origin of the gap. I consider this one already filled. So not the best of the three that I like. Again, I would still probably stay with the pound dollar or the euro dollar for my NFP trade in the morning. Again, we'll look at those. Look at the CAD Swiss. See how long this one takes to switch over. As this is loading, James, I got a news article for you. Here, you will appreciate this one. See if it loads. There you go, James. What do you think of this headline? I don't know if you can see it or not. No, it just happened. Where is it? There you go. How's that? How's that for a quote, James? Trump's Twitter causes a lot of stress in our world. I just thought that was awesome. I saw that and I was like, oh god, I got to save this for later. we could remove Farmer and write James over it, right? We'll just cross this out of Ernest. Same thing. We'll change this to we'll do a little screen share, right? We'll do like a capture. We'll do this, right? And then we'll do this. You can draw Ernest in here, right? Start changing this to Ernest. Stirring it up. You like it. But yeah, I saw this and I put it aside. I was like, yeah, I got to bring that up later. Gotta love that headline. All right. So we talked about the two lower levels of basing, basically coming out of this area. This one is kind of a similar situation, right? It kind of popped higher, right? It went low, it came up, it retested, but it went all the way through again, kind of invalidated itself. So unlike the other one that we saw earlier where the price did go lower in the pound yen and it came up and then it retested down, again, you're taking it when it breaks, right? This one, it did go lower. Then it came up, then it went lower again and went right back to the same bottom area, came up and then gapped again. So this one just got so ugly that there would not have been a long signal in this one. And again, that's what you're looking for inside of a hybrid pair like this. You expect that to happen. You're going to see, again, the volume's not there. It just, again, how many people are trading, CAD to Swiss? It's just not a big, it's just not a big one, So again, you're going to see kind of funkier setups on this one. It happens. Really no trade setup on this one at all. Again, we're starting to grind up on the daily over here, and it's just getting a bit wicky, right? CAD yen. I think one of you actually traded CAD yen today for the oil, didn't you? I feel like somebody did. Okay. All right. So what we talked about last night was, again, rallying up. We had these two profit targets that we're looking to hit. Again, that was, I believe, our trigger is what we were looking for. I believe this 81.07 was a trigger to start coming back and look at this thing to get short. Didn't quite make it up there. Shot all the way up and then just kind of stopped, pulled back again and then based. Again, it's been about 6-8 hours. Yeah, so if you trade this one, got some money out of it, that's awesome. But like I said, it ended up triggering an alert, but again, not getting to the area where we wanted to, see some selling at. Again, it's it is what it is. It's not the easiest pair. I don't think the oil news was not as big a miss as it could have been. Only missing by 2 million. You guys can see over here. Last one was huge. These other ones are this one was a swing in the opposite. Both these other two were complete swings in the opposite direction. So not only did you have to eat the 2.5, but then add 1.5. So only missing by 2 in the right direction, not that much, right? And again, we didn't really see the big moves in this one. Very little, but I was in. Yeah. If you got a little bit out of this one, good job. Because like I said, not really. You got this is one of those funky gaps again, right in the middle of But again, you guys can figure out why it's there. All right, let's see. Let's go over to Stream Elements. All right, so I have 4 entries in right now for the ticket, and again, it's a low volume night tonight. So again, we don't have a whole lot of people on. I guess people are busy tonight, which is totally okay. It is Thursday. Actually, let me see something here real quick. Let's see. Yeah, I can tell you why we're not busy. Because the Bears are playing the Packers. Kind of a big game, right? What's up, Rapid Chaos? All right, so with that being said, guys, yes, we are in the middle of the football game. It is halftime. We have 6 people in on the giveaway tonight for some pip chips. I will give you guys here. I'll drag this over. Remember, don't forget, do exclamation point ticket to get your ticket for the evening for free. Who are we missing? James is in. Ernest is in. Josh is in. FX Jones. Silent Hound Dog is in. Will is in. Who else we got on here? Did you post this one in Discord? I just jumped in and I didn't look to see the link. Yeah, I did. Yeah, typically every night about 5 minutes beforehand, you'll see me post the links to get in. If that's what you're talking about. pips rule. Salty chips, baby. Salty chips. No. But that's what I was wondering. I was like, yeah, we're a little low in numbers tonight, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was football tonight. It's, the opening game. I have a friend that lives out there. But if you guys really want to hear a joke, just go ask Jack what the score of the football game is. He lives in Chicago, but he'll have no idea. He's not a football fan. He likes baseball. Or he goes to baseball games. All right. So with that said, guys, I'm going to shut it down. One last call. And then I will do it. And then the odds are in, less odds. People don't want to put in for the contest. That's okay. So last chance. You guys have 30 seconds to do exclamation point ticket to get into the drawing. Mine must be broken. I looked. Don't see a link. Really? I'm sure I put it in there. Oh, you know what? There you go. Silent, you're totally right. I had the whole message typed up and I didn't hit enter. So maybe that was my fault. If the whole thing was typed up, I guess I didn't hit enter on that one. I had the baby on that one, so the baby must have been. She was distracting. All right, so we got 7 people in. With that said, I'm going to close the drawing down, and just so we keep everything fair, so you guys can see it, I'll bring it over here. You know what? I'll just attach it to here. All right, so closing it down right now. We'll close the giveaway down, and we are going to draw our winner. And the winner tonight is Silent Hound Dog. All right, so we're going to mark giveaway as complete. Mark as complete, and let's go over to the leaderboard, and we'll give Silent his pip chips. Okay. Let's see. Give you your 25, and there you go. You are good. Up to 74. And again, leader is still Will. Will is holding on to those things. He won't spend them. He's sitting on top of them. So yeah, buddy, congratulations. Glad you got some. Start getting up there on the leaderboard. You've been putting some time in lately, watching things. And again, that's how you learn. Okay. If you're in Discord, you guys can see how good, Ernest and James and those guys are doing. And again, they spent the time in. Ernest is pretty much close to one of the originals. And that guy used to kind of message me all the time. So, which is totally fine. I'm okay with him messaging me all the time. All right, guys, with that being said, it is a couple minutes before 10 o'clock. I am going to get rolling. You guys have a good, again, I'll be on tomorrow morning if you want to catch me. Bounce questions. If I find a nice NIDX strike, I'll go ahead and post it for you guys. But for the most part, you guys have been doing good with those. But I'm going to be looking at the 2 hours. I'm going to look at the euro dollar first, followed by probably pound dollar first, euro dollar second. And then depending on where the dollar yen is, that will be the pair that I go into next to look at. But most likely, I'm assuming I'll be able to find something in the pound or the euro dollars. All right. So you guys, if I don't catch you tomorrow, have an absolutely great weekend. Don't forget, next Monday, I will be on for NADEX as well as next Tuesday, and we will have webinars, obviously, next Monday night. And for those of you who don't forget, we have a special session next Thursday on parabolic retracements, which is also hosted by NADEX. You can grab that on the website, or I will post a link on Discord. I'll post it tomorrow for those of you who don't have it. Make sure you guys get registered for that one. If you can't make it live, it's totally okay. They'll send a replay out, but it's basically me breaking down some of the rules for the parabolic retracements, and then that'll actually be a class that'll be released in the next week. So, all right. So you guys take care. Have a great weekend, and I will catch you guys soon.